So we're continuing with Serkong Rinpoche's advice. And he says, furthermore, through practicing, try to increase whatever qualities you have as much as possible, but don't go around boasting and bragging about them. Instead, praise others' good qualities and hide your own. Good advice, difficult to do. Okay, so he's saying, yesterday he was saying, put into practice whatever we learn, and integrate it. But when we do that, we shouldn't go around boasting, And so especially in the thought training practice, if we're training the mind in love and compassion and doing the taking and giving practice, we shouldn't go around saying, oh, I'm practicing taking and giving for your suffering and your cancer and, this and that, and kind of make it look like we're some kind of holy practitioner doing something, marvelous for other people, or we shouldn't pretend to be extremely renounced, but meanwhile we're manipulating how to get things, but we should really be honest and straightforward and not pretentious or deceitful. And be more, and this is one of the refuge guidelines too, to be more interested in pointing out our own faults than the faults of others, and in really training our mind to praise others. And it's a very, very good practice, especially when our mind is kind of feels down and discouraged, and we're judging people and getting really down with them. Then it's really good to try and praise whatever they do that we do appreciate. Now, sometimes when we're really upset with somebody, it seems like they aren't doing anything we can appreciate. It seems like everything they do is just 100% negative. But that's a skewed mind on our part. So it's very helpful in that case to really try and look and see something that the person does do, or maybe that they did do in the past that we really appreciate, and praise them for that and point that out to them. And often I think that can be more effective than the disapproval that we give to people, because depending on the relationship with the person, sometimes if we show disapproval, they wake up and they really respond and get their lives in order. Other times, if they perceive us as continuously disapproving of them, then they just tune it out, and we have very little effect over them, and they start seeing everything we say as negative. Yeah. So in those kinds of cases, it's better to turn that around by, we turn our mind around, and thus we change our behavior, and then their mind can also change. And we do that by finding something that they did that we do appreciate. So we don't lie, and we don't praise things that we really don't think are good, because that's not good. I mean, that's lying, and it also leads the other person astray. Okay? But finding something that we do appreciate is uplifting to the other person and as well as to ourselves. Okay? To have all the conducive circumstances for practicing, not having too much or too little, but having just what is right for practicing the Dharma, is quite rare and difficult to obtain. Shariputra made a prayer, "May I not be born in a rich family or in a poor family, but in a medium family." We do not need to pray like this because we are in such a condition. Therefore, we should make use of it. Having such an excellent working basis as we now have is very difficult to obtain in the future. We have done many difficult things in the past in order to create the karma to have such an opportunity now. For this reason, we should use the basis of our precious human life to work as hard as possible to bring ourselves closer to the state of awakening. Okay? So having a situation in which we don't have too much and don't have too little, it's a delicate thing, and we often miss the advantage of this situation. I mean, one reason they say a precious human life is good is we have enough happiness to be able to do something besides scrounge for our survival, but enough suffering to remind ourselves that we're in cyclic existence and we need to do something about it. So in a similar way, if we have enough material wherewithal so that we can sustain our lives, that's good. If we have too much, then our minds get distracted because we have to protect it. Then we start getting competitive with other people, because we want to show that we have more. Or we're beset by all sorts of people who pretend to be false friends, trying to get some of our stuff. Or if we're, we always have this mind that wants to have more, then we start making friends with people who are very wealthy, and we become controlled by them, because whatever they want, then we do, because then we become the recipients of their largesse. And so our minds get polluted by this kind of thing. On the other hand, if we don't have enough, then it becomes very difficult to practice, because we have to look for food and shelter and so on, and our mind just becomes, how to get food becomes the main thing of the day, or how to protect our body from the elements becomes the main thing of the day. Okay? So we're lucky in that we have, enough to live, but not too much that we get distracted and derailed by it. Yeah? And I've seen this happen to some people, that they really get derailed by coming from a wealthy family. It can interfere with their Dharma practice. In the same way as if we're too poor, it can interfere. So we're fortunate that we're just kind of in the middle here, And so he said, really make use of the opportunity that we have, because having a precious human life is difficult to get again, and it's a rare situation. And we can see that just by looking around on this planet, most human beings do not have a precious human life. Okay, don't think a precious human life is just a human body. It's not. There's so many other conditions, that have to be there for it to really be a precious human life with the ability to practice the Dharma. So really seeing how difficult it is to create those conditions, how rare of a situation it is, then we should use it wisely and not waste it.